Welcome, everyone, for today's study. I would kindly invite everyone who is coming to join us through our YouTube and Facebook channel to take these initial moments for our introspection, helping us to observe our own breathing, how we breathe in and how we breathe out, in order to bring the focus of our attention within ourselves, helping us through this breathing exercise calm our minds and calm our hearts so that we can be more present, available for today's learnings, as we are all learners of ourselves, learners of the natural laws in the universe, learners of the wisdom that we bring within, and united through the feelings of brotherhood, fraternity, and goodness, we start our study today. Once more, welcome to everyone. For today's study, which we are focusing on exploring the theme, the psychological benefits of prayer. What we present here are some reflections. It's not the final viewpoint, but inviting everyone to explore the subject further. But hopefully by the end of our reflections, we can bring some points that helps us to go deeper within and also to empower ourselves through prayer, understanding that we are all immortal beings. As we are in the physical body, we are three-dimensional beings. That is, a spirit, perispirit or astral body, and the physical body. And also it's fundamental to start with to understand that the Spiritism is a result of a personal conviction. Spiritism doesn't impose anything to anyone. It is an invitation by the Enlightened Spirits to reflect about the natural laws in the universe as we carry on evolving. It's also important to understand that the special objective of Spiritism is the knowledge of the laws of the spiritual principle. The objective of the Spiritist science is the spirit, where we start from within to analyze our potentialities, our limitations, and as we learn also to understand that we are thinking beings. As we think, consciously or not, we are communicating with each other, either us who are incarnated and also within those who aren't, those who are more evolved with us, those dear ones that we all have, the spiritual benefactors with us. And in that way to understand that the spirits are attracted by affinity that inspires them, the moral nature of the environment that evokes them. What does it have to do with our theme today, the psychological benefits of prayer? Everything. Spirits, we are spirits in essence. We all think and feel, therefore we are communicating and interacting with each other. So the spirits are attracted by affinity is fundamental that we observe what we are nourishing and feeding ourselves with through our belief systems, through our emotions, because we are communicating in the universe already. The moral nature means the values that we bring. The moral nature can be inferior when we are focused or identified with our own shadows or on imperfections, or the moral nature could be of essence when we are evolving towards developing the goodness within or the potentialities that we bring in germ. So it's up to us. I would say in this stage where we are, we all have lights and shadows. We all have strengths and weak points. The main point is not allowing to be driven by our weak points and continue to expand our strengths. They also need to be strengthened and also overcome our own shadows. Therefore, prayer extends the individual's faculty of understanding the existence and the real life. We can even ask ourselves, what is prayer to myself in the current situation of my evolution? Do I believe in prayer? Do I believe in the power of prayer? Do I pray or do I ignore it? Do I think that has nothing to do with my existence? Prayer has nothing to do within the knowledge of Spiritism. It has nothing to do with repeating automatic words. For us, within Spiritism, is a psychological emotion promotion, positioning internally that we dialogue from the higher self towards the creator of everything and everyone. We can call God, or if you're not at ease with that, you can use a different reference, because we are all guided by the greatest love in the universe, and everyone can choose the name that they wish to give. But for us within the School of Spiritism, prayer is helping us to understand our existences as immortal beings, is also helping us to understand the real life, which is the spirit and not the matter. Although we are transiting through our physical body, but we are not a physical body. So what is our understanding towards our existence? From which perspective are we emerging as learners of ourselves? It's important to say that it's nothing wrong when we, through our reflections, become aware that we are body focused, as long as we try and choose to open our minds to go beyond it, because essentially we are immortal beings. When pain presents itself in any form, it could be pain on the psychological dimension, on the emotional dimension, on the biological dimension, or on the spiritual dimension. Prayer is the most effective way to support and overcome it. Moreover, it creates a field of peace in which the soul strengthens and inspires itself, better identifying its own resources to promote joy and well-being. In our stage of evolution, as learners as we are, to conquer the superior well-being, let's put it like that, we still are facing pains in different levels according to our maturity or immaturity, according to our superior faculties that we conquered or not. And yet prayer, which is an internal communication departing from our essence, in simple words that we communicate with God, or as I mentioned previously, with a superior being. You can give the name that you wish to give. In that way that we, let's say, trust the superior power that guides us, that we develop the willingness to be guided and supported through the pain in our journey. The pains or pain usually refers to the possibility of extend or expand our sacred divine faculties that we bring within. They are experiences, the pains, that are inviting us to look within and address the experiences which are transitory in a different way, essentially from a loving perspective. And it's okay if we don't understand in the moment what is the cause of it, as long as we develop humility and resignation, so that we don't want to be in control and sometimes control the situations that may be painful for us, but position ourselves in the learner's chair so that we are open through engaging with the higher values or higher potentials of the soul that we bring on our super consciousness, that we can exercise and give in and allow that the experience flows through, even if it's painful. Because quite often the pain has also to do through our levels of resistance, either conscious or unconsciousness. So learning not to resist is almost like learning with nature as a river that go with the flow of the water. And in that way, we can ease up our learnings as well and overcome the pains in renewing our minds, renewing the understanding who we are, what is the purpose to be on earth, what is the cause or what is the wisdom behind the pain that the universe is inviting me to discover within myself. And moreover, as we learn in the book Wake Up and Be Happy, it creates a field of peace. When we stop to resist on an egoistic way, we will realize that we are opening more psychic space, that even the universe can invite us to reflect deeper, to connect deeper with ourselves. It also helps us to strengthen us as a spirit as we are on the soul level, receiving the inspirations from our deeper self or from the good beings, the enlightened spirits, or benefactors, or dear ones who deeply love us, who are with us, who can see, who can feel our struggle sometimes as learners as we are, but they can also see the potentials that lie within us in order to overcome any experience. If we free ourselves from the egoistic control, that we are not in control of a lot of things, but we can control our thoughts, we can educate our emotions, then we are giving support ourselves and also strength and in overcoming the challenging experiences and submitting ourselves as learners, and in that way also promoting well-being on the different dimensions of ourselves, psychologically, emotionally, biologically, and spiritually. Because the four different dimensions of ourselves, they are all interconnected. When we develop one, we are impacted the other in a positive way or not. The psychic that prays achieves resistance in the energy field. Essentially, being spirits, we are beings of energy. Achieves resistance in the energy field, which converts into preserving forces of the nervous and functional systems of the mind and body. The psychic that prays, the mind that prays, the spirit that chooses to pray, is connecting with the higher resources within, is connecting with the healing resources within. And in that way, as we use our reasoning, as we train our thinking in a constructive, healing way, or potentializing our humbleness or resignation or position as a learner, that is the codified in energy that impacts even our nervous system, which again, the nervous system impacted through our state of mind in a constructive way will result in better health on the biological level, will help us to be calmer, will help us to feel more at peace, will promote health on the biological level, and it will also impact our state of mind. So it is fundamental. The psychic that prays, we can translate the psychic, the spirit, who reflects on a higher purpose of life. As a learner, always, we are not in control of every experience, but we can learn to control our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. And that doing in that way to promote the higher faculties such as humbleness, resignation, obedience of the will of God, the creator of everything and everyone, that favors the promotion of centrality, that we are more rooted within the sacred in us. We stop resisting, even if we are in pains, we try more to elevate our minds. There was the greatest source of healing, which is God, that comes from His love. What I cannot understand, I submit myself as a learner and cooperate for the healing process to benefit myself in terms of tranquility, in terms of serenity. Because although we are in pain, although we may be ill temporarily, we can always exercise the mind, connecting with the higher beings, as we mentioned in one of our beginning slides that we presented today. Prayer induces peace and produces emotional stability, generating integral health. The mind that prays harmonizes with the sources of life, enriching itself with the spiritual forces and lucidity. The psychological benefits of prayer. Prayer induces peace. Prayer, not meaning repetition in an automatic way of words that we decorated. This is not what we mean by prayer. Prayer in the way that we are reflecting, it is the ability for us to connect with ourselves on the heart level onwards and sincerely talk to God or talk to our spiritual benefactors who are spirits, who are already more advanced than us, who all love us, and who are always there to help in what they can, even if it's inspiring us towards more humbleness, if it's inspiring us towards tolerance, if it is inspiring us to elevate ourselves and learn to support and sustain our thoughts in a more higher level. They are always there. So produces emotional stability when we choose to stop to resist our learnings as immortal beings for itself. As learners, we can stabilize ourselves. We are less stressed. We are less irritated because the ego's demands, the consequences of the ego's demands is stress, is irritability, which can impact us in a very negative way, mentally, emotionally, and also biologically. Life is as it is, and we have the free will to choose to expand our understandings about every single experience that the universe presents us in our existences, with ourselves, within our families, in our workplaces, wherever we are, even with ourselves in our own companies. Let's always focus within. Peace is within. Peace is the result of harmonizing our minds and hearts according to the law of love. So when I'm loving, meaning respecting myself, respecting others, respecting life, be appreciative in life, be grateful what we have, be grateful for the experience that the universe presents to us in order to potentialize ourselves. Those reflections, actually, from a deeper perspective, is a way of praying, is a way of potentializing the germs of goodness, of health that we bring within. And when they say generating integral health, when we pray, meaning when we promote our cognitive mind in choosing constructive belief systems, which are our thoughts, we are actually promoting integral health. What is integral health? Departing from our initial reference that we are immortal beings, a spirit, and we are all evolving and progressing. Integral health is the health that involves the four different dimensions of ourselves. That is spiritual, because we are essentially a spirit. We have the spiritual body, perispirit, and the physical body. So the integral health depends pretty much what we do with our cognitive resources, with our ability to think, which is a faculty that we all have. And the ability to think will be potentialized through self-awareness, through understanding our inner deep resources or healing powers that we bring within, overriding in our memory any negative limited belief system, as we promote us and choose to nourish our minds with belief systems such as, I'm a loving being, I love myself. I respect myself. I accept myself as I am, as a valuable being in evolution, accepting my own limitations, but putting the effort into to overcome them. Because when we neglect our imperfections, they dominate us, and they also will block the natural ability to pray, which is to connect with the greatest power in the universe, which is love. Integral health is the goal that we are aiming to achieve gradually as we are harmonizing the different dimensions of ourselves. All of us, as immortal beings, we bring innate the ability to actualize ourselves. And there is nothing wrong to identify our limitations. It is almost necessary in order to achieve integral health. Enriching itself with the spiritual forces and lucidity. Prayer, which is the inner dialogue from the higher self, from the loving aspect within ourselves, it will unblock our psychic channels. We can gradually perceive more clearly who we are, what is the purpose of our existence on life, what are the reasons of pain in our existences. They are not to punish us here. Pain is here as a invitation for us to look within, to choose to understand better. What are the causes of my pain? Prayer helps us in that reflection. So as you can see, as I'm guiding through the different reflections, you will learn, as I'm learning too, that for us within Spiritism, prayer has nothing to do with decorating words and repeating them in an empty way. No, prayer is to do how we relate with the sacred aspect within ourselves, with the real love that we already bring as a germ, but needs to be stimulated and needs to be exercised. Lucidity, to understand the purpose of life is to evolve. And we only evolve when we modify ourselves, when we promote ourselves towards goodness. Lucidity also helps us to understand that the difficult challenges or difficult experiences as we perceive them in our homes, with those that we are relating with our partners or workplaces or wherever, there is a special cause behind that, inviting us to potentialize ourselves towards goodness, towards forgiveness, towards brotherhood. And those are the benefits of prayer on the psychological level, which favors to expand our psychology as immortal beings. Because our psychological aspects, which expresses as we are in the physical body on the mental and emotional dimension, is and are the extensions of our resources as a spirit, as we are. And as we carry on, when a sick person prays, it receives valuable transfusion of forces that vitalize the leukocytes for the battle of health and support for the immune system, restoring their defenses. You see how empowering it is, the ability to activate, to stimulate the resources within using our mental level to more and more expand and touch onto the resources, the healing resources that are available in the universe for all of us. Valuable transfusion of forces. Our thoughts are valuable transfusion of forces that we stimulate the well-being, to integral health, or we may intensify pain. So the psychological benefits of prayer, when we are sick, we or even somebody else, although we are restoring our body or not, depending on the situation, because as we are on earth, in the school earth, we are here to heal our souls. While we are going through pains, we can exercise our minds beyond the pain. Exercising our mind, exercising our pain threshold as we advance in our evolution and ascend that the spirit has the power over matter and not vice versa. That also is an ability that we gradually conquer within ourselves. That also praying when we are sick, in case we face these experiences that are always blessings in terms of healing the soul, we can impact our immune system as we harmonize ourselves in praying. Dear God, dear enlightened beings, dear enlightened friends, help me. Help me to support and learn through this experience that I'm facing. Because I'm understanding that the pain is an invitation for me to love myself, therefore to heal myself. And therefore, as more as we promote this reasoning, we also are promoting our defenses on the psychological and emotional dimension impacting our biology. Can we see the power that we bring within? Sometimes we haven't learned that or we haven't been stimulated, but we can all start. The individual is always the result of the thoughts that he elaborates, that he welcomes, and that he emits. Do we know that we are the result of our thoughts? Do we know what we think? Do we know what we sustain on our thinking level on daily basis? Because every human being who is an immortal spirit, in general, we carry around 95,000 thoughts per day on our unconscious minds. What are they? What do they represent in terms of impact in my psychology, biology, and my spiritual dimension? Can you imagine 95,000 thoughts if you are not aware, if you are not attentive what they are? They can be running in an automatic level and can be limiting ourselves. Prayer, as I mentioned, is the inner dialogue of elevating our thoughts, of being conscious what comes from our unconscious mind. What are we thinking on a daily basis? We can choose to re-edit our thoughts, always having in mind the goal that we are promoting integral health, that we are promoting psychological well-being, which is the consequence of our thoughts. The way that we are talking to us, the way that we are relating to us. So thoughts that elaborate and welcome, and that he emits, we welcome our thoughts, consciously or unconsciously. Our reflections here are hopefully helping us to be more conscious. So when we realize that we have negative, limited thoughts, simply in a loving way, stop and actualize them. The psychological and emotional benefits of prayer goes via this process of self-actualization. No one can be psychologically and emotionally healthy through negative thinking. We may feel through our illusion on an egoistic level that we are okay, but actually we are very ill. I repeat again, prayer is the ability to love ourselves and to connect to the universe, to the superior powers, and ask for help, not to give rid of the experience that we need in order to evolve, but to receive strength and power. When we are willing to engage in that level, we are already stimulating that power within ourselves as well. And naturally, we are connecting with the same entities, with the same spirits. Through thinking and feeling, willing and wishing, desiring, we are connecting with other beings. Bear in mind that all of us has always good beings who are with us, inspiring us, hearing what we are aiming for our existences. And of course, if that is to promote our well-being, promote the well-being of others, we are benefiting, we are receiving that help, like a stimulus to overcome and also to support certain experiences. The pessimistic self destructs itself, while the optimistic self sustains itself. I would say that we still all have negative or pessimistic ideas. It varies the degrees. The one who has done more effort and work in overcoming, in educating themselves, in choosing freely what to nourish your mind with, which kind of thoughts, that is the one that even when the negative pessimistic ideas come up from our unconscious, they select, they stop, and they read it in a positive way. Optimistic thoughts has nothing to do with illusions. It has to do with accepting life as it is, learning to discern, be more lucid in knowing what is down to us, that we can change if necessary, what is not down to us, that we choose wisely to accept. So we are really promoting centeredness and integral health. Pessimistic self-destructs. There is no prayer that can impact us if we choose, using our free will, in a negative way, always thinking in a self-obsessed negative way, thinking negative belief system, thinking that the others are damaging ourselves, that the others are doing this and that. Stop. The others cannot impact us in our psychic if we choose to develop our psychic boundaries in thinking good, in taking responsibility for our thoughts and feelings. And in that way of re-elaborating ourselves, promoting ourselves, we are in a state of prayer, in a state of connecting with the superior forces that helps us to sustain ourselves in our trials, in our struggles on earth. He who believes in his own possibilities develops them, improves them, and handles them with security. The benefits of prayer. Do we believe in our possibilities to pray in a natural way? As we think good about, as we develop gratitude for our existences, for our bodies, for our families, for the place where we live, gratitude for everyone that is part in our existences, gratitude for everything that the universe presents to us as learners, that is a prayer. Be more grateful for what we have, grateful for what we don't have, because the inner wisdom tells us that what we really need, truly need to evolve on earth, the universe will give us. So whatever is not there is usually what we don't need on an essential level onwards. Do we believe in our own possibilities and to develop them? Possibilities to use the inner dialogue in goodness, favoring self-respect, favoring self-responsibility, which is internal autonomy, to constantly be choosing to be good to ourselves, good in a sense to do what we ought to do in order to promote our own evolution. Responsibility in respecting other people as they are, although we are assertive in becoming better than we are. That is a way of praying. That is a way of impacting us, soothing us in a loving way that calms us, that brings balance within. That we choose when we believe in our own possibilities to renew ourselves, we improve them, we expand them, we practice them, we exercise them on a daily basis. Because we do understand all the higher faculties of the soul, they need to be exercised, they need to be developed, they need to be practiced by the spirit who we are. No one can do this. And we handle our possibilities with security. That we don't want to be perfect when we are imperfect on the journey of perfecting ourselves. We don't blame others for our own restrictions and limitations and shadows, but we take the responsibility to overcome our own shadows, and in that way promoting ourselves. He who doubts himself and his own resources, engaging in a disturbing psychosphere, disintegrates the chakras or energy centers and exhausts himself, especially when sick. The psychological benefits of prayer. I repeat again. Prayer, from a holistic perspective, is the inner journey that we connect with the sacred within us. It's part of our evolution to go through phases that we doubt because we are learning new elements. But if I constantly are in doubt of everything, I will create this disturbing psychosphere, mentally and emotionally speaking. Therefore, that will not benefit myself, psychological and emotional, that will disturb myself. And also, as we are psychological and emotional spiritual beings in essence, we all have chakras, which are centers of force that we bring within. So we have the chakra on the head, the coronary chakra, the frontal chakra, here where we speak, and the heart, and so on and so forth. So as more as we free ourselves from doubts, from negativity, from pessimism, we are harmonizing the different chakras, the energy forces that we bring within, also impacting us in well-being, also benefiting us in integral health, in a short, middle, and long terms. While if I'm pessimistic, always complaining, always negative, always with anger, I'm creating that toxic psychosphere in my mentality. And in that way, I will not benefit in terms of developing the inner harmony. I will become more and more insane, more and more disturbed, and more disconnected with my higher self, with my higher self that we all have. So there is the need to give time, allocate time, so that we constantly learn that what we think and feel is our choice, is our initiative. And we can change our thinking in any moment when we realize that we are working against our well-being. Prayer is recommended by all the spirits. To renounce prayer is to ignore God's goodness. It is to refuse for oneself the assisting of God, and for others the good that we can do for them. Prayer is recommended by all the superior spirits, by all the enlightened spirits, by all spiritual benefactors. They always recommend us, because as we stimulate prayer in a natural way, as we are reflecting here with our own words, we are connecting with God, or those who don't believe in God, with the higher self. It's the same thing. And if we don't pray, we also, it's almost like that we are shutting down inner resources that are available to us to use favor or on inner harmony. But when we incorporate this new habit as a natural habit, the same way that we eat our food to sustain our biology, we use prayer to sustain our psychology. That is helping to develop psychological, emotional, and biological and spiritual health, even if we go through illnesses on the physical body. We are not a physical body. We are immortal beings. Even if we go through illnesses, we are in the proposal to develop our inner power, that the spirit has the power over the matter. And as more as you do it, we also develop our pain threshold that every soul will develop through their existences. The power of prayer is in the thought. It is not connected to words, places, neither to the time in which it is done. Hence, one can pray anywhere at any time, alone or in group. The influence of the place or time is connected with the circumstances that may favor introspection. Sometimes, when we are in the position as learners and we still are very indisciplined in our mental level because we haven't been educated in that way, or we didn't educate ourselves in this more harmonic state of mind, lacking discipline, lacking focus, we may benefit ourselves temporarily in choosing to be in a quiet place, that helps us to, let's say, shut our vision from the external and focus internal. And as more as we train that later on, which we already noticed that internally we develop the autonomy, that doesn't matter where we are. In any place we can pray. As I'm reflecting here, prayer is a natural way that we think, therefore communicate in the universe, communicate with the superior spirits, communicate with God or a higher being, and receive the influence of those higher resources. We can pray alone, we can pray in group. But again, even if we pray in group, we are stimulating, activating the individual spiritual resources that we are, or the individual spiritual faculties or potentialities that we are exercising. In a group, as we all do that, surely the power of prayer is intense and we can help others. And then we learn in the gospel, according to Spiritism, a prayer is only as good as the thought connected with it. And it is impossible to connect a thought with what is not understood, because it cannot thought touch the soul. For most people, prayers spoken in an incomprehensible language are only a group of words that say nothing to the spirit. In order for prayer to touch, each word must reveal an idea, and each one does not understand it, it cannot reveal anything. One repeats it as a simple formula that has more or less virtue according to the number of times it is repeated. Many pray as an obligation, others to conform to the habit. This is why they believe that they are exonerated after they have said a prayer a determined number of times, and in such an order. God reads the depths of the heart and sees the thought and sincerity. And it is the demean God to believe that God is more impressed by the form than in depth. That is very profound for us, really. So it's not about repeating words through decorating words that will not impact higher spheres or higher beings. We may pray in a very simple way, each one of us, according to our own resources in terms of vocabulary. But the main point is when it comes from the heart, with sincerity, with honesty, that usually is what connects the energies in a more expanded reality. And also when we talk with ourselves, it's not to be intellectualized. It is to simplicity, simple words that people can understand if we pray in a group, or simple words that we can understand, that make meaning to us in any situation and moment where we are living. As I mentioned previously, prayer has nothing to do with decorating words. Prayer is a normal, simple conversation coming from the heart of ourselves, from the essence of ourselves, towards God or towards the superior beings, asking for help, asking for strength, asking for courage, asking for strength for us to undergo certain experiences that can be challenging because we are learning, but they are temporary, transitory. And then we carry on learning still in the gospel. People who do not think they are good enough to exert a hurtful influence should not abstain from praying for others by thinking that they are not worthy of being heard. The awareness of their unworthiness is a demonstration of humility, which is always agreeable to God, who takes into account the charitable intent that animates them. Their favor and trust in God are a first step in the return to goodness, for which good spirits are happy to encourage them. Prayers that are rejected are those of the proud, who have faith in their own power and worthiness, and who think they can replace the will of the Eternal One. We are all imperfect beings, yet essentially we are all loving beings in evolution. When we have negative belief system, well, I'm so imperfect, I cannot pray, my prayers don't have any power to influence my life or others, let's stop. We are valuable, loving human beings in essence. And what counts to God is our intentions. If our intentions are honest and sincere, even within my imperfections, which I'm aware already, that still helps us to connect with God, with the loving beings in the universe, and also can help us to receive the goodness within. And also, even in that state of imperfection where we already bring the ability, if we choose to exercise, to pray for others, which is a great act of charity, which is a great act of goodness, and therefore great benefit on our psychological dimension, impacting our physiology. Let's see what we learn here by Joseph Murray, The Power of Prayer. In his book, he says, the children of negative thoughts and emotions are illnesses, needs, and limitations of all kinds. Allowing fear, hatred, or rancor to dominate us, intimidate us, or scare us is cohabiting with evil in the bed of our mind. Our subconscious mind will always express what we have printed in it. He expresses it in a beautiful way. Our unconscious or subconscious mind, through the thoughts that are running sometimes automatically, we are dealing with what we imprinting in it, what we validate on that level, and we can change that. So negative thoughts, negative emotions are internal references that need our attention to transcend, to re-educate. And prayer is there to always connect. Dear spiritual benefactors, help me to overcome my pride. Help me to overcome my selfishness. Help me to overcome my anger. Help me to overcome my indifference. Help me to be more tolerant. Help me to be more fraternal. Help me to be more forgiving. I really wish to develop this ability. This sincerity is stimulated within ourselves in this honest way, the resources and the help that comes with that. Man is an absolutely indivisible biological, biopsychosocial spiritual unit. Any somatic disease causes emotional reactions resulting from it, varying according to the individual's psychological structure. Each psychic structure predisposes the organism to certain diseases or conditions, its modality of installation and development. Being healthy or sick are factors determined by the way in which the individual places himself in the world, recognizes itself, and relates to his fellow beings. Are we relating in a forgiving way, in a flexible way, in a brotherly way, in a tolerant way? Are we exercising these superpowers that we bring within? If we are in a constant state of prayer, and we are benefiting our psychological and emotional dimension and also our physicality. Now, if we are constantly fighting with each others, gossiping, slandering, thinking negative about others, blaming others for what we think they are doing wrong, in that toxic state of mind, we are not favoring ourselves. We are sick, ill, physically, mentally, therefore physically, and are blocked in this ability to pray, be in prayer, this state of mind that we choose to open our hearts and minds to connect with the higher beings, with the higher references that still are awaiting to be developed within ourselves. Prayer provides an analysis of human needs in relation to the essential purposes of existence. The time when it facilitates the relaxation of tensions is stimulating weakened forces and renewing them. Analysis, prayer in a sense of self-reflection. What is the purpose of my existence? What are my real needs that I'm here as an immortal being to conquer? What are the values in my individuality through my process of individuation that I choose to develop that helps me to become a stronger psychological emotion, that helps me to relax? that helps to renew their weakened forces. Because sometimes we feel tired, we feel exhausted, psychically speaking, usually because our thinking is toxic, negative, and we are almost like the focus on the loving aspect of ourselves. To pray well is necessary to cultivate the essential issues of life using the essential prayer. Essential prayer can be translated in learning to love ourselves, to love others, to love life. This is done by meditation, through which we acquire the discernment to know what is best for us, which brings us balance and harmony. What is best for us, what brings balance and harmony, not what is best for us on our ego state of mind. Meditating about it. From the moment that through meditation we get to know ourselves, we perceive our egoistic feelings to be transcended. It is fundamental to the de-identification of the ego and the identification with itself in essence, so that with the identification with the essential being that we are, we identify with the divine in us, with the love that we are. Prayer is meditating about ourselves, or meditating in essence of who we are, what to transcend, what to overcome, how to promote goodness. That is a state of prayer already, that we are thinking about the goodness that we can do, just to think about good in relation to other human beings, transcending the physicality or the materialistic perspective in looking others based on the body. Let's transcend our vision, seeing, perceiving others as immortal beings, the spirits as they are, essentially beings of goodness and love as much as we are, not focusing on their shadows. When being light or on shadows, through renewing ourselves, we also can look towards others in that direction. We are less affected by the shadows of others towards the level that we promote and overcome our own shadows. And that state of meditation is also a state of prayer. Meditation becomes the effective means to discipline the will, exercising patience, with which we will overcome every day the inferior tendencies in which we cling on. Do we know which inferior tendencies we cling on a daily basis? We still favor, we still have pleasure. Are we meditating about them? Are we willing to overcome them? Are we willing to free ourselves from? Meditation in relation to this process is also a state of prayer. And if we think and meditate in that direction, departing from this essence of ourselves, we are connecting with the enlightened beings. We are connecting with our spiritual benefactors. Meditation is an imperative need that is required before any task and commitment, because we are immortal beings. We are within the law of cause and effect. So whatever we think and feel and do will impact the rest of our existences, either in this existence or in the future ones. With this attitude comes the emotion and clears the discernment, harmonizing feelings. Meditation in any act that we undertake. Always thinking, where is that initiative, that thought leading me towards? I repeat again, meditating about our existence, meditating about our states of mind, meditating how to renew, how to promote our tendencies, values, and belief systems is praying, is connecting with the superior sphere, with our spiritual mentors. Prayer is a precious resource that enables the acquisition of self-awareness, reflection, examination of emotional and spiritual values concerning the human being. You see here, that is very different than the prayer that you repeat automatic words without understanding them. Prayer is a state of inner connectivity. As it says here, resource enables self-awareness. Who I am. What are my thoughts that predominate in my conscious level? What do I do with my primitive instincts if they emerge? Self-reflection, examination of emotional and spiritual values. I'm a spiritual being in essence. My psychological and emotional dimension is the reflection of who I am as a spirit. How is my relation with myself? How is my relation with myself when I commit mistakes? Is there already space of self-forgiveness, self-love, self-respect? Do I already perceive myself as a learner? Valuable therapy. Prayer attracts the renovating energies that readjust organic molecules in the map of physical balance, while dynamizing the psychic and emotional potentialities, invigorating the individual. Prayer attracts the renovating energies. Prayer is a state of mind towards goodness, towards resignation, towards humbleness, towards forgiveness. And in that way, towards learning whatever is painful or hurt. Let's me check what are my internal resistances on a rigid way that the universe is inviting me to overcome, to break free from. And in that way, again, we are potentializing ourselves. To pray is to open ourselves to love, to enlarge the circle of thoughts and emotions, to free ourselves from the usual and vicious ones, in order to create new fields of inner harmony, so that the whole being benefits from the energies acquired during this special moment. As more as we exercise prayer being a state of mind towards goodness for ourselves and for others, as more as we practice and potentialize ourselves on a daily basis in conquering and sustaining the higher values, the essential values within ourselves, we are in a constant state of prayer. And therefore, we are in a constant state of connecting with the enlightened beings, with the good spirits, who will always be giving us courage, inspiring us, and fortifying our will. Selfishness, perverse feelings find no place in the score of prayer. It is necessary to get rid of these disturbing scores so that there is synchronization of thought with the dulcifying notes of the divine musicality, as Joana de Anjos, the benefactor, teaches us. Desire is the master spring of all actions. It is the cause of all feelings and acts. Desire is the basis of all progress. The desire is the voice of God in you, telling you to evolve more. Desire or willpower. What are we desiring? What we are wishing on a daily basis? This desire is the voice of God in you. I desire to be better. I desire to be more forgiving. I desire to let go my anger, to let go my resentment, to let go my hatred in case I bring that within. That desire is training the willpower in goodness that we bring within, and therefore we are evolving more. The individual who is reborn does not react mechanically, nor is a machine. He understands that news, people, comments, and criticism cannot disturb him because he knows that he is a unique thinker in this universe and no one has the power to disturb him. Prayer, or the psychological benefits of prayer. This is part of learning to pray. When we learn to become independent from other people, from situations. How do we do that? Through our selfish way of being? Never. Through our ability to forgive, to understand, to flexibilize ourselves, to be more tolerant, to be more responsible for our own thoughts, to educate our thoughts, to educate our emotions, to promote our well-being. The belief in God, or simply that God feeds a brain that longs for Him, allows humans to reap rewards both in the sense of better health and greater personal fulfillment, as we are learning here by Dr. Herbert Benson in the book Timeless Healing, or in Portuguese, Medicina Espiritual, that we have great doctors, scientists, people who study the transpersonal aspect of ourselves, helping us to bring these deeper meanings of our experiences. Prayer is in the invisible bridge of subtle energies, provides union with the Divine Father, through which it draws the forces and inspirations for the difficult commitments in our existences. We all have challenging moments that we go through, but prayer being the ability to go beyond the egocentric, egoistic state of mind, we all essentially bring the divine resources within ourselves. Go beyond our own limitations and is stimulating the inner light, the inner love. In that way, we go through the experiences better. Prayer does not alter the struggles nor prevent the testimonies that favor evolution. However, it provides resistance to the clashes, always encouraging and vitalizing the psychological benefits of prayer. Prayer being a state of mind that we exercise our choices, using our free will and exercising goodness within ourselves. We develop inner resistance through when we are facing clashes, that we don't need to react, we act with more wisdom, with more inner love. The person who prays overcomes tensions. Do we want to be more relaxed, less anxious, more centered, more in peace? Let's pray more. Let's talk to ourselves more in a loving way. The person who seeks God through prayer and he responds to him by intuition of what to do and how to do, and in doing so becomes happier. The psychological benefits of prayer. As more as we talk with the creator of everything and everyone, God or love, the enlightened beings, we develop the inner power to overcome our own shadows, to overcome our own limitations, to overcome all the causes of our unhappiness which are within, not without. I repeat, the causes of our unhappiness are within, not without. Seneca, a Roman philosopher, said, part of the healing is the desire to be healed. The question is, do we want to be healed? By whom? By us or by others? Our form of intention is important, but so too is the level of emotion. Simply put, feeling strongly about something helps us to accomplish it. Strong, however, does not mean an outwardly showy demonstration of feeling. Strong emotions may be felt quietly and inwardly, like the great surges of current in the ocean. That depths, they need not disturb the surface. When we are absolutely miserable, prayer is no longer dry rote repetition. It becomes a living and vibrant cry for help. It becomes authentic. In pain, we forget the do's and don'ts that keep us separated from God and reach a new state of intimacy that comes from talking to God in our way, saying what's in the heart. So let's, from today onwards, when we are facing our struggles, let's journey within. And let's just say, help me to understand what your will is over me. Understand that your will is love, so that we submit ourselves also. Can love unite people over geographical distances even when they receive is unaware that love is being offered? This is a way to see if prayer works, because when one person prays for the welfare of another, the person who prays is extending compassion, empathy, and love. That is said by Dr. Larry Dossey in the book Healing Words, The Power of Prayer and the Practice of Meditation. Again, as more as we pray for others means wish well others. Not according to our needs or selfishness, according to the code of the universal healing powers that are available to all of us. We heard an interesting thing by Dr. Larry in the same book. Larry Dossey says, maybe we doctors ought to be writing on our own on all order sheets, pray 3 times a day. Prayer is a medicine of the soul that we can use every day, all the time. The good spirits only teach unity and love towards others, and never the evil thought or contrary to charity can come from a poor source. That is a way of praying. learning to develop the ability to think good of others, to do good for ourselves and others, and never to do what the inferior spirits do. The sorrow and resentment eats up the electric mechanism of the brain, and that begins to suffer successive waves of destructive energy. The psychological benefits of prayer. It is a way that we educate ourselves towards goodness. It is a way that we develop the ability to imprint in our own psyche the values of the higher potentials of the soul, such as humbleness, forgiveness, tolerance, patience, resignation, obedience to the God's will, fraternity. Every noble ability helps us also to stimulate the prayer aspect, because it's the elevation of ourselves. The spirit who is already in the spiritual world, Inácio Ferreira, he has something important that he says to us. Let's convince ourselves once and for all that no medicine heals what it is in the soul, and that no one needs a diploma to know this. How important is that? We need to seek help from psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors, and every resource that is available for us on earth or beyond. But the real healing, it comes from within. The psychological benefits of prayer being a state of mind, which we choose to develop the goodness within and without, helps us to center ourselves, to develop the inner medicine that we bring within already. And then we finalize with the words of Mother Teresa of Calcutta, when she says, prayer in action is love. Love in action is service. And this is a state of prayer. The best prayer of all, as we learn and evolve, is engaging in the service of goodness for all, within ourselves, based on our thoughts and emotions, and through actions that we cooperate to promote the goodness within and around us. And in that way, we are coming to the end of our reflections today, saying thank you for the universe, with our hearts full of gratitude for these reflections of self-empowerment, of understanding that prayer is a way that we connect with the sacred within. And then in that way, we are connecting with the good spirits around us. We are connecting with the spiritual friends who are here to help us. They are not here to help, to take away the experiences that we need to undergo, but they give us strength, they give us courage. Prayer on a deeper level is a state of mind, is a state of spirit, in devoting himself, in improving himself, and cooperating towards building a better world, helping our brothers and sisters in humanity. That is love in action. And in that way, saying thank you to everyone who has been with us. Thank you for the enlightened spirits who have been with us. And with our heart full of gratitude, we close this reflection today. Bye-bye. See you.